Hello, everyone, and welcome to P-Bolic Notes. My name is Michael Kripchin, and welcome to my channel. Today is Wednesday, May the 18th, 2022, and today I'll be talking to you about one of the new indicators that I learned about today from Rekt Capital, who is a great technical analyst that you can find on Twitter. And I heard him on an interview, and he had mentioned the 20-month moving average for Bitcoin. And I looked at it, paid a lot of attention to it, and I'd like to share that with you because I think it's a very interesting indicator for us to kind of figure out regarding Bitcoin's bullish or bearish pattern, and of course to figure out if we're in a bull market or really in a bear market. Before I get started, I'd like to please just do a full disclaimer. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Everything I'm sharing with you is from my own knowledge, and please do your own research. And also a full disclosure, I am already an investor in this space, and I'm an investor in Bitcoin as well. Hence, what I'm sharing with you is for real, pure personal information. And if you like the content, that's great. And please subscribe and leave comments. Let's get started by sharing with you my computer screen. Here we go. So where are we at today? Really on the macro, obviously, as we know, it's a very, very bearish market with what's going on the stock market as a whole. This really is the Nasdaq. You see, it's in this negative corridor. It's been the Nasdaq looks like it's going down quite a bit. There's obviously this big coefficient of correlation between Bitcoin and the Nasdaq. So what it does is when Nasdaq is having a bearish cycle, so is Bitcoin. And obviously Nasdaq has its own correlation with the S&P. If you look at what Nasdaq and S&P are at, they're probably around 0.97, 0.98, one being the highest. So meaning that as S&P moves in one direction, Nasdaq also does as well. And as we look at what the S&P is doing, again, very bearish. It looks like we're doing this a double top, and we're breaking it, and we're also broken below this 100-week moving average. So it looks like the S&P may be heading towards the 3,400 mark, which would be a good 10-15% lower versus where it's at right now. So this being said, what's going on with really the total cryptocurrency space? Well, the total cryptocurrency space has been very bearish, as we can see. At its high, it was almost at $3 trillion and, as a market cap sometime in November. And as we go forward to see where we are today we're hovering at around 1.2 trillion. So obviously a massive, massive drop to the market cap. And this, of course, what is done with Bitcoin, as we observe. Let me bring this the Bitcoin 20-week SMA and 21-week EMA chart. Again, as we look at pay attention to what's going on with Bitcoin, on November 1st, it was something around $64,000 and range. And then afterwards, obviously, as we fast forward, and once Bitcoin went below its 20-week SMA and 21-week EMA, which was sometime on December 6th, since then, back then it was around $50,000 US dollars. And then afterwards, really, it's been below that because over here we had this brief moment where on end of March we had this false pump, thinking that maybe Bitcoin will be going above the 20-week SMA and the 21-week EMA. It didn't. It hasn't. And since then, it's broken down. And really, it looks like right now we've broken this $30,000 US support line as well. And we seem to be going down to this $20,000 US dollar mark. But hang on a sec. What did Rekt Capital say today on the interview that I watched that he did on Real Vision? So basically, what Rekt Capital was talking about was, he said that, and I believe that interview was done a couple of days ago. It was definitely done in May. So what he was looking at was the 20-month moving average for Bitcoin. So then if I look at Bitcoin's chart and I put it for the 20-month moving average, what we pay attention basically over here, I'm gonna put this at one of the exchanges that's going to show us a little longer of a trend, maybe FTX. I'm just guessing here. No, let's try a different exchange to see one that Kraken should be one that should give us a longer time period. So right over here, so this is the monthly chart for Bitcoin, and the only indicator I put here is really I'm going to put here basically the 20 month moving average. So let's look at that, where what that puts us. So basically, if I look at the moving average, and we'll put it in yellow so that we can clearly see it, and let's make it at the 20-month moving average. So this way, let's pay attention to it and see what it's doing. So if I look at this yellow moving average, which is the 20-month moving average, I'll remove the other indicator. That way it's going to be easier for us to not get confused. So as I look at this 20-month moving average, what Rekt Capital was saying was that as it crosses, okay, above, as Bitcoin's price is above this time period, then basically you are in a bull market, and as it's below it, then you are going to be in a bear market. So then let's look and see what's going on here. If I look at Bitcoin's price, it looks like right over here, it crossed downwards on August 1st, 2015. And then as we go fast forward a bit, so it looks like sometime around here, right, I guess around here, around May the 1st, 2016, Bitcoin started going above this 20-month moving average. And if you look at what the price was, the price for Bitcoin was at $423. So what I want to do is, I want to kind of do this two ways with you guys tonight. Basically, I want to look at what on May the 1st, 2016, what Bitcoin was doing. And I want to look at what the investors and retail investors versus the bigger investors were doing at the same time period as well. And then what I want to do is I want to look at what happened right over here when Bitcoin's price basically right over here on May the 1st were something in the range of let's go with on June the 1st. Actually, no, May the 1st, Bitcoin's price was something in the range of $368. And then as I look fast forward to where Bitcoin crossed downwards, where basically it hit this 20-month moving average, and then it closed below it. Really, it basically opened this month. It had opened at 6,242, and then it ended up basically being at 4,136. So as we look at this this indicator, really the indicator would have been officially closed below it right over here, which would have been at the 39 or 3804 mark. So that means this would have been really a pretty nice return for somebody who had bought Bitcoin right over here at around 368, and then they actually sold it over here, which would have been really, I mean, obviously they may have sold it a little earlier. I mean, if they saw that the Bitcoin was really closing the whole month below this 20-month moving average. But let's say if they waited till the actual confirmation of the actual close, they would have sold Bitcoin something in the range of around 39.70 as its US dollar price for the close. And then what they would have done is that they would have basically bought it back, I guess, sometime around here. So then when Bitcoin was crossing again upwards, this may have been a false signal or maybe not. They wouldn't have known. They would have bought it either here or they would have bought it over here. So let's say if they bought Bitcoin at the open this month over here, because clearly Bitcoin was above its 20-month moving average, they would have bought Bitcoin something in the range of around 8,237. So 8,237, and this would have been on June the 1st, 2019. So on June the 1st, 2019, they would have basically bought Bitcoin, we said, at the price point of 8,459, and then they would have basically sold it. They may have sold it here, maybe not, right? Maybe they were waiting for it to be a full candle below this 20-month moving average. So I'm not sure what I would have done over here. So let's say that if it was here, and let's see if I held on, okay? Or there's a good possibility that maybe I would have sold and bought back. And then what that means is that let's say if I took no action or sold and bought back, but the more important thing is that as this market stayed in a bull market, really went all the way up to this $58,000 mark. Then there was this wick at $64,000, and then there was a couple more wicks even higher. And then afterwards, it looks like over here, this cross really it closed a month below this 20-month moving average. So I may have probably sold it there because it's closed the month below it. It didn't close above it, or I would have maybe waited until it basically went over here this month, and then all of a sudden we're clearly below this 20-month moving average. I may have basically sold it over here, or it may have been, let's say, I sell it sometime over here, something over here. So this is where we're at right now. But it's very interesting that it's really catching it and it's giving us clearly that when Bitcoin's price is above this 20-month moving average, I can clearly see that it's actually a bull cycle, and when it's below it, it would be considered a bear cycle. But quite honestly, as I look at this Bitcoin chart, we see clearly that it's been really a phenomenal upward trend since the beginning of time. It's Bitcoin's if we look at what Bitcoin has done since its inception, it started trading officially around 2009, 2010. It's done phenomenal, and the returns have been great for all the investors. Unfortunately for me, I didn't get started until last year into Bitcoin, so meaning that I have actually missed out most of this phenomenal gain by Bitcoin. So what I like to do now is look at those periods and just quickly see what the on-chain analysis was showing during those same time periods, to see if the actual investors versus retail buyers had caught these important shifts in Bitcoin cycle. So if we go back to where the timelines we're looking at, we were looking at May the 1st, which was our first entry. Then we exited the position, let's say around over here, which would have been at, let's see over here. Okay, so then it would have been sold at this close, which would have been at 3,574. So 3,574, and then it was sold, and this would have been at November 1st, 2018. Which is November 1, 2018. And then on the next buy, it would have been, let's say, right over here, which would have been at 8,073 on June 1st, 2019. 8,073 on June 1st, 2019. And then what we do is over here, I'm going to assume that we did nothing, because it kind of closed right on the moving average, and then it basically opened afterwards at the moving average, kept on going. So that means there's a good chance that we may have not done anything here, or maybe we could have sold and bought. And afterwards, I'm going to assume that this basically, as soon as this month opened here, we sold, because it was basically really confirming that we are in the bear market, which would have been a sale happening on right here. Let's go to May the 1st, 2022. So on May the 1st, 2022, and Bitcoin's price would have been something in the range of approximately 37,254 at 37,254. Now, I'd like to see what was going on with the on-chain analysis during those exact same time periods. So if I go to May 1st, 2016, on May the 1st, 2016, it looks like what we had was, we had approximately May the 1st, 2016, we had, let's get this. Okay, on May 1st, 2016, our investors were at 2.49 million Bitcoin, and our retail was at 13 million Bitcoin. So I'll write this down so that I don't lose this. So on May the 1st, what we had was investors at 2.49 million Bitcoin, and the retail was at 13 million Bitcoin, and the interblock had the Bitcoin price at $450.87 on May the 1st. And then as I fast forward into what was Bitcoin's price on the actual exit, and the exit would have been on November 1st, 2018. So if I go to 2018, November 1st, our Bitcoin exit would have been something in the range of, it'd be hard to pinpoint this. Here you go. Let's go with November 2nd. On November 2nd, the investors had 2.84 million Bitcoin, and the retail buyers had 14.52 million Bitcoin. And what that means is that, and Bitcoin's price on November 2nd was at $6,396 So if I bring back this chart here, if I look at bring that as Excel file, so what happened was on May the 1st, it looks like what happened was we had the investors that were basically holding on to 2.49 million Bitcoin, and the retail buyers or retail investors were holding 13 million Bitcoin. Now, the way Into the Block categorizes these kind of holders is that the investors, they be considered to be the owners who own 0.1% to 1% of the total supply. Okay, so basically, investors are what they are for concentration. Whale address owns more than 1% of circulating supply. Investor is an address that owns 0.1% to 1% of the supply, and retail is an address that owns less than 0.1% of the circulating supply. So what it means is, if you come back to over here, it means that on May the 1st, there was 2.49 million Bitcoin held by investors, 30 million Bitcoin held by retail. And as I go to November 1st, where we had 2.84 million Bitcoin held by the investors, and we had, and then we had 14.52 million Bitcoin held by the retail investors. So basically, both had accumulated coins during this bull run, and so basically, what was happening there, of course, what we had said was, as we go back to this 20-month moving average, with the 20-month moving average, what happened was basically Bitcoin had been bought at, we said, on May the 1st, 2017, and it was sold at November 1st, 2018. So during this bull run, investors and retail had actually accumulated Bitcoin. The next one is going to be basically this one here, which means that it was when investors sold over here and they bought back over here. So let's see what happened to them. That means they're selling on November 1st and they are buying back. So they're basically selling their coins on November 1st. And let's do that as well. So sold on November 1st, 2019. And we are going to be, want to make sure I get the right year, 2018. Okay, so we sold the coins on November 1st, 2018, and the coins were then bought back probably over here, right? So basically, they were bought when Bitcoin had confirmed that it had basically it had confirmed that it's above the 20-month moving average, meaning that it was bought at 8,743, and it was sold at November 1st. We had said that the price of Bitcoin was around 6,396. So at 6,396, and it was bought approximately at $8,235, and it was bought basically. The date was around June the 1st, 2019. So June the 1st, 2019. So then let's see what happened to the on the chain analysis during those periods. If I go to on the chain analysis during those periods, so what that means is that we're looking at what happened on November 1st, 2018. We already have that from before, and we know that on November 1st, 2018, what had happened was we knew that there was 2.84 million coins held by investors and 14.52 million held by retail. And if I look at what's going on June the 1st, 2019, on June the 1st, 2019, it's going to be right over here. On June the 1st, 2019, it looks like what we had was something in the range of, we're not going to get the exact date. Okay, it's very hard to maneuver this. So I will stop at as close to June the 1st as possible. Let's stop here on June the 6th. So on June the 6th, which is again the month of June 2019, the investors had 2.19 million Bitcoin, and the retail had 15.55 million Bitcoin, and the price was 7,669.81. Very interesting. So if I look at this on June the 6th, what happened was we basically had bought right over here, okay, and we had bought it back on June the 6th, we said, and on June the 6th, what's happened was that as far as the tokens were concerned, now all of a sudden the investors were around 2.19 million Bitcoin. and the retail was at 15.55 million Bitcoin. So we see clearly that when the investors had actually sold at 6,296, and they were ready to buy back at 8,235 on June the 6th, 2019. And this, of course, this June the 6th, 2019, if I go back to this 20-month moving average, was definitely a good period, because basically this is when Bitcoin was starting its bull run. But what's interesting is that it looks like the investors had actually sold their tokens sometime around over here in this bear market, right? So now let's see what's happened from this period, okay, which we basically is June, we said 6th, 2019, and let's see what's happened from then until here, right? So now what I mean is that right over here on April 1st, when the month of April closed, Bitcoin actually, it looks like Bitcoin basically had opened the month of April at it's a green candle, so it means, I just want to make sure we are doing the proper candles, correct? So it had opened the month at 36,955, and then it had actually it closed the month at 44,580, right? And then what's happened right now, we are right now in the month of May. And so basically what's happened with Bitcoin, if I do this daily chart, I just want to see what the price of Bitcoin was on, I just want to make sure we are getting the dates right and getting the price right. So if I look at what's going on with Bitcoin on May the 1st, so on May the 1st, as the month of May got here, Bitcoin's price was something in the range of around 38,353, right? And today we are in a range of 28,695. So if I put this back to the monthly chart, and I'm looking at this for us, I'm looking at our monthly candle. So we see that we're going to make sure that we're putting these basically in candle format. So basically, as the month of May opened, Bitcoin's price was at the range of around $37,000, and right now we are basically in a range of around $28,000 approximately. So we're going to assume that over here, this confirmed that the position had broken the 20-month moving average, and then I'm assuming that as the next month, as May started, and we had started the month at below this 20-month moving average, because right over here, the 20-month moving average was around 39,490, and here we were basically opening the month at below that. So meaning that we had already confirmed that we're in the moving average or in the bear market. So the investor would have basically sold the tokens at 37,209, and this would have been on May the 1st. So at May the 1st, sold tokens on May the 1st for approximately 37 to or let's put this back on daily just to see where it was at that day. If you look at on May the 1st, the token or Bitcoin would have been sold at something in the range of 38,480. So at 38,480, and let's see what was going on with the concentrations on May the 1st. So on May the 1st, what's going on with our concentrations of retail versus investors. So on May the 2nd, we'll go with May the 2nd. Again, it's very hard to pinpoint. On May the 2nd, what we had was the investors were at 1.95 million Bitcoin, and the retail was at 18.93 million Bitcoin. So meaning that if we go back to what was going on for our chart before, so we knew that the investors had sold on November 1st, 2018, and then they had bought it back on June the 6th, 2019. So on June the 6th, 2019, we had 2.19 million investors, and then we had 15.55 million coins that were held by retail. And now let's see what happened now on, we said on May the 1st. On May the 1st, what's going on now? Basically, we've sold at 38,480, and on May the 1st, we had 1.95 million Bitcoin that was held by investors, and there was 18.93 million Bitcoin that was held by retail. So meaning that what's happened clearly is in this bull cycle, the investors have actually sold more tokens, and there is more retail that is holding on to the Bitcoin tokens. So when I see this, it can have different implications. The first implication that I would see is that maybe what's going on is that all of a sudden people are maybe creating multiple wallets, because this is on-the-chain analysis, which is not exact rocket science. Maybe people are creating multiple wallets, and they're all of a sudden fooling the system into thinking that there's more retail buyers versus investors. Or what's going on is really we're seeing Bitcoin changing hands and going from investors into the hands of retail. Now, what does that mean? What that means is that as more retail is buying, it means that there could be more downtrend on the actual cycle. Hence, if we look at what Rekt Capital was saying, is that he was basically saying on the monthly chart that that he is seeing that if I go into this, I want to just look at really, let's just look at Bitcoin's monthly chart so that we don't get too confused here. I'm having a hard time finding the chart. Here we go. This was the 20-month moving average. So this 20-month moving average that we're using, and since now we're seeing more retail that is holding on to Bitcoin, and what Rekt Capital was saying is that since we are basically below this this moving average, that basically we are going to be in a bear cycle. And the way that he was answering it was that he was seeing Bitcoin basically go something in the range of depending on how it finishes, but he was doing the Fibonacci retracement with the regression lines, and saying that basically he was paying attention to how it works out. He wasn't really giving an exact bottom, because he was looking at kind of with the Fibonacci retracement to figure out where it would be going on the downside. So let's say if we look at the way I would see this, my own perspective with these indicators and these charts, I like looking at this with this Bitcoin's traditional. I'm just going to look at basically the moving averages, which I think they are very, very accurate with especially for Bitcoin. Is that if I look at and see what's going on with these moving averages. So I will put them on a weekly chart, and I will show with you. I will now close this 20-month moving chart, moving average, and I'll just look at the 50-week, 100-week, and also the as well. I'll look at the 200-week moving average, because with those ones we're going to do very well to figure out what's going on. So if I look at the Bitcoin's chart with these moving averages, we see that in what happened basically in the past, right over here, basically from May 2018, we went all the way down to this to December 2018. We definitely hit this 200-week moving average, and then so that means that then as we fast forward to next cycles, we see that over here we kind of hit the 100-week moving average, as well as the 200 and as well as the 50-week moving average, and then we bounced up from there. And then afterwards, when it did cross on the way down, when it broke these moving averages on the way down, then we went actually below this 200-week moving average. So meaning that, but this was just a wick really, and then it bounced right back up again, and then we had this beautiful bull run. So right now, where we are right now, the way I would be seeing this with Bitcoin's price action is that it's clear that there's a very high possibility. Obviously, there's nothing absolute in the space, but there's a very high possibility that we're going to be going down to potentially to this 200-week moving average, which is going to be pricing us something in the range of around $22,000 US. So if I look at that and I say, okay, is this something that has happened many times in the past? We see yes. So basically, it looks like right over here, this was in December 2017, the $19,000 mark was actually a top of this one of these prior bull runs, and after that, Bitcoin went through this really big downtrend. So that's why I can clearly see Bitcoin having its bottom come over here. Obviously, if we break this support line, then it's not a great sign, because then if Bitcoin breaks that support line, then what that means is that it would potentially go at the next positions, at the next important points. Those are happening to be something in the range of 11 or 12,000 US dollars, right? So that's why Bitcoin holding the ground here at this point of around this moving average, which is coinciding with this this prior top. So it's important for Bitcoin to kind of stay above this. Going below it would be a very negative signal. So let's keep a close eye on all this. Today was a longer video, and those who stuck around, thanks so much for watching this. And please don't forget to subscribe. Any comments, any feedback, please do share. And thank you so much for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.